Welcome to the latest episode of this week's Acca, sponsored by Sky Bet Acca Freeze. I'm Tom and joined remotely by Jake and Joe to deliver our picks. We're recording this on Saturday afternoon. We're focusing on the Monday games, which is, of course, New Year's Day, across the EFL to build our accumulator in the usual manner. Let us know your thoughts in the comments all through Sporting Live Football social media channels. And remember to keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford. This podcast is 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly. I'll be honest, I'm in the office today, and just to my right, I've got Luton, Chelsea, and Celtic Rangers. I believe Cole Palmer, has made it 3. So we're getting live reporting as we go on here.
It's so outdated when you listen, won't it? That's the problem.
Oh, God, yeah. When Luton
we'll be telling you what you already know. Yeah.
This is going to be good. Jake, quick debrief on the most recent Acca then, as we were both on it. We've subbed Jimmy out for Joe, as you can all see /here. Again, at one point, it looked like it was going to win, and it has not delivered.
Well, unfortunately, for probably the 4th or 5th time this season, the Acca that we originally picked got reduced due to unforeseen circumstances, because Stevenage were knocked out of it with their game being postponed. Was it floodlight failure or something like that? So we're down
We've
to
never had a floodlight failure. We've had rain, wind, snow.
Yeah.
We've not had a floodlight failure yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the next one could be. Maybe a tornado or something like that. But it was winning for about 3 minutes in the second half. All 4 teams were winning around the 70th minute. And then, just a couple of draws cost us in the end. But knocking on the door, and, it means nothing to people who back it and obviously want to make a winner. But we beat the closing line again. We got very, very short.
But we're mentioning it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we get these prices nice and early, and ultimately have that price edge, which is half a win, I guess, or maybe a quarter of a win.
That's the real
things that are worth mentioning for why you should listen to me today. Now that I'm back on the podcast, when I was on this a week ago, and a lot of my suggestions mainly were rejected by Jake. In fact, Tom was on board with a few of them. This was the Acca that I brought: Bournemouth to beat Fulham. Stevenage to beat Northampton, Peterborough to beat Reading, Bolton to win at Lincoln, MK Dons to beat Colchester, Barnsley to win at Port Vale, and then Barrow to beat Stockport. Barrow to beat Stockport let us down, but if you're back on a 2-up, as Tom let me know, then that would have paid off, and I would have used the Acca Freeze function. So,
but it would have still lost.
I'm definitely going to suggest
drew with Reading.
I'm definitely going to suggest loads that lose today.
I like how he just ignored the fact that Peterborough didn't beat Reading. So it's a
no,
you brought a losing Acca to the table, is what I'm hearing.
If anybody was following the results really closely, then there were serious problems with the results system on what was that one even for? Boxing Day.
Peterborough
it actually got reported as a 3-1 Peterborough win for about 40 minutes. So it'll be interesting to know whether some people managed to cash out their winnings and then bookies were scrambling around, because whoever was pressing the buttons recorded the equaliser as a Peterborough player. So if anybody, I didn't build it myself, but everybody did, I would love it if they managed to get their Acca winnings out and then they've got the bookies chasing them for it over the next few days. But it went for ages. Then they incorrectly corrected it to a 2-1 win rather than 2-2 for a bit. So it lasted for quite a while. But Merry Christmas, everyone. Anyway.
Yeah, technically a winner on a technicality then, I suppose you can call it.
Oh, yeah.
Go on then, Joe, kick us off. We'll look ahead to the Monday fixtures, as we said, 3 p.m. New Year's Day. We've got games in the Championship, League 1, League 2, as you'd expect. If you're delivering winning Accas all the time on technicalities, then I'm expecting a big first selection here. What you got for us?
It also reminded me that we completely forgot to mention that the day before, where we built that Acca for Boxing Day, Tom built a winning 4 or 5 fold himself on the Friday and just declined to mention it, which, considering we do a podcast for building accumulators, it was quite the bit of information to let run awry. So that was December the 22nd, 16-1. And Tom sent it around our WhatsApp group and literally said, it's a shame that we can't build one for Friday nights because this is definitely winning. And it was a deep stoppage time winner, wasn't it? So let's channel all that today.
Looking forward to those donuts next week, by the way, Tom, when we're all back in the office.
You should have all backed it. We could have had 3 times the donuts. Joe, more importantly, I want to give me a winner. Give me a first good winner.
Here we go. So I hate doing it, but I'm just going to do it again. So I'm starting my own team. This is as optimistic as I felt all season. So I suggested them for Boxing Day. They put in the best half that they have all season, 3-0 at home to Port Vale. They had to make some subs at half-time because of injuries and protecting Luke O'Connell from a yellow card. And then they had to hold on a bit to win 3-2. And then they played brilliantly against Peterborough, 2-0 up, and just conceded in injury time at the end of the first half. And then conceded straight after half-time, 2-2. But it's probably their best performance of the season because they've been really poor against fellow promotion chasers all year. And it was just a fabulous game of football. They hit the crossbar with Corey O'Keefe to win it. Loads of chances. And now they're at home to Wigan, who are on a terrible run of form. They've been rubbish for about 6 weeks or so now. Barnsley have lost once in 13 matches. They haven't lost a game since Luke O'Connell came back from a spell out with illness this season. And it's 8-13. Feels like it ought to be shorter, really. It will be, I think, by the time of kickoff. It's coming at a tad, but not loads. It's 4-6 this time yesterday. So that feels like something to build your Acca around for me.
Yeah, I have no issue with that. It seems a very straightforward Acca pick. Good team at home against a team at a form away. I have no issue with this. I didn't have it down just because I've done the Jimmy the punt roll of just pick some ones that, to quote him, you're going to absolutely hate. So I'm happy just to side with that. Seems good to me.
Yeah, same. I did initially take a glance at it and thought the price was a little bit short, but doing a bit of digging, Wigan, as Joe said, have been on a bad run of form. They did win in midweek. They beat Carlisle at home. I think they're rock bottom of the table right now. Away from home, it's not great for Wigan. 6 defeats in 12, but the last 4 games they're winless away from home. They played Cheltenham, Leyton Orient, Port Vale and Reading, and I think we all agree Barnsley are a big step up on those 4. Prior to that, it was a win against Exeter away. So they haven't played away from home against anyone at half decent recently. And I think Barnsley, if what Joe's telling us is correct and we're all bought into that they are on a nice upward trajectory now, they're going to surge into that playoffs and potentially go one better than last year, then 8-13 looks overpriced. So yeah, I'm happy to get them in.
Should we take it first selection then this week's Acca? So what will be a 2-2 draw, but undoubtedly recorded as a 4-1 Barnsley win for the technicality Acca. The first pick on this week's Acca, then we will take Barnsley for a home win over Wigan in Sky Bet League One. Jake, go on then. You can chuck a potential second one in here. Have we got another short-priced home one potentially?
It's shortish priced. I was looking at Reading at home to Exeter. You're getting 5-6. I'll just check that price has not changed since yesterday. You're getting 5-6, which sort of 17-20. So it's actually drifted a little bit. I think that's more than fair, given what we've seen from Reading recently. Been very, very tough to beat of late. They're on a decent unbeaten run. Too many draws, granted, but they've also played some good teams. You know, they played at Peterborough, drew 2-2, which was the technicality we just talked about. Drew at home to Oxford as well, another team up there. But yeah, it's just on an underlying process perspective. Reading, just overall this season, home and away, 16th best team in the league. Exeter down in 22nd. At home, Reading have been very steady. They're a team we've backed a few times at home already this season. They rank as the 13th best home team on the underlying data. Exeter rock bottom on underlying data for away performances. It's one of those where Exeter themselves are coming off the back of a home win against Wickham and a draw with Portsmouth. But away from home, they have really struggled of late, as that underlying data would suggest. So I thought that this should be a little bit shorter, and it does go in the category of a bit of a 6-pointer, which might put a few people off. But yeah, I think this is a very good spot for Reading to find themselves in.
I'm not sure. It seems a bit of a too short of a price on 2 bad teams would be my only input on it. Not sure what Joe thinks, but
Yeah, I initially looked at it because similar to Jake, I thought Reading seemed to not be doing as badly recently, but they're not winning. Like they've had one win in 8 games in all competitions, and it just feels a touch short. So to me, like they're managing to turn it around, and they might be. I mean, they might well beat Exeter, but it just feels a bit too risky to be putting in an Acca for me when they've only won one game in 8, and it was against Wigan as
Interesting you
well.
say that, because Wigan they are 18th in the league, but add 8 points on for the deduction, they'd be around 10th. They actually went off shorter at home to Wigan than what they're currently priced against Exeter. So they were 5-6 in that game. We're getting 17-20 here. And Exeter are a worse team than Wigan in my book. So actually, when you look at it like that, the price is actually maybe bigger than what you'd expect. And they won that game. That was of the last 5 matches, really. Oxford at home, Lincoln away, Wigan at home, Peterborough away, Cheltenham away. That was probably the one game that you would have down as an expected to win based on those games. And yeah, like I said, that price was shorter. And a couple of home games ago, they played Carlisle, the same short price, around the 5-6 mark. So against rubbish teams, they are being priced around 5-6. We're getting a little bit bigger at 17-20. I'm guessing that might just be off the back of Exeter's 2 results, Wycombe win and a Portsmouth draw. But I just, like I said, I threw it out there. I'm not wedded to it going in, but I do think that this is potentially one that could be. It's not even a booster, but it could be one that really does comfortably win, given Exeter have really struggled.
at the same price, can I just check out Accrington to beat Salford if we compare the two? Would you prefer to take that at the same price? Accrington, for me, are a team that we've spoke about, haven't we? We typically don't bat them away, bat them at home. And they're playing a Salford team who are an absolutely horrendous run of form, well beaten by Grimsby last time out.
No manager either.
Me at the same price, I think I'd be more confident in Accrington.
I ain't got the notes to hand on Accrington because I am exactly the same thought process as you. So I went to them fairly early on, and I was surprised that they haven't been picking up that many results in the last few weeks. But I just can't remember. I might be remembering that incorrectly, but that's what made me not put it down because I thought it's just a bit short for the recent form that they're in.
Yeah, it's two wins in 10 in
Yeah.
the league, 5 defeats. So it's not great. 1 win the last 5. Did come at home to Walsall. They've had quite a few away games. Barrow, Harrogate, Crewe. They've 2 avoided defeat. But yeah, I guess it's what Tom's leaning towards is more Salford than just the shit show there at the minute.
I think if you want Accrington as well, they're still a decent home side. So they're 7th in the home standing, 7 wins from 13 this season against a team that are in trouble, big trouble at the moment.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I just wonder whether there might be other ones at bigger prices, especially if the one that I put in is really short. Whether there might be stuff that's at the other side of the line that might be a little bit better that you guys have got.
Yeah, I will just say one more thing on this. I would be happy to see Accrington go in at this price just because of Salford's recent form. Not only they lost the last 3, but they've lost to 3 teams that are all comfortably bottom 7, bottom 8 in the league, and they've been absolutely battered in some twice. Grimsby beaten 3-0, Tranmere beaten 5-1. So yeah, I'd be happy to put Accrington in just on the back of the fact that Salford are rudderless at the moment. But yeah, like Joe said, we can put a pin in it, come back off the back of a couple of big prices maybe.
I'll chuck another one in then before I go to the taking forever to try and convince you for a few of the other ones. Another home team, I've got 21-20. Bristol City are at home to Millwall. I don't know if anyone else has got it, but I'm unsure on Millwall. I know they've had back-to-back wins, but Bristol City have just been in brilliant form, or really good form, I think, since Liam Manning's come in. 3 of the 4 home games under him, they've won. I think Norwich probably should have got an equaliser against Millwall, and you know what I'm like on Norwich. I don't understand them at the moment. I typically like to avoid them completely. And I think Bristol City in a completely nothing game, looking back at that, they were a bit better than Birmingham in what was a very low event a game of football that is being described as having happened. And then the final bit I had was George Saville got sent off late on for Millwall, so he'll be suspended for this as well. Just looks a price that's about right. I thought it might have drifted into odds on, which it probably will do at kickoff, I think. But for me, of the kind of championship games and the home teams that are available, Bristol City to beat Millwall jumped out to me.
Yeah, I had it down as well. Last 8 games across the championship, Bristol City have ranked as the 8th best team in the league based on the underlying data. So performances kind of match results. And as you said, at home, been very strong. 4 of the last 5 have been wins. And Millwall, that same 8-game span have ranked 18th. So it's about the same as where they were under Gary Rowett. Not seen too much improvement on a continuous basis. And I think the main thing for me is that away from home in that, or the last 8 away games, Millwall have averaged 0.6 expected goals for per game. So they've barely been creating a chance when travelling. And if you take away Saville, one of the more attack-minded players, I think they're in a bit of trouble heading to Bristol City, a team that definitely are on the up. So I had it down. I'm happy to go in.
Any thoughts, Joe?
Nothing to add. You lads have convinced me of that.
Should we take it? Second pick?
Take it.
There we go then. The first 2 picks then of this week's Acca. We've got Barnsley, a short price for a home win against Wigan, and is stepping up into the Sky Bet Championship. We've got Bristol City for a home win against Millwall. I'm going to say some teams that are going to cause a lot of argument, so I think it's time that we take a break now and then pick our other this week's Acca selections very shortly.
One thing we've all got in common is having that one leg of an Acca let us down. From spending your winnings in your head to cursing that last-minute equaliser that broke your heart. But it doesn't have to be that way. Acca Freeze from Sky Bet gives you the power to freeze a winning score early. Even if that team goes on to lose, Sky Bet will settle it as a winner. It's time to take action. It's time to Acca Freeze and end the game your way. Visit skybet.com for full terms and conditions.
So far then, we have Barnsley, we have Bristol City, and in that little break there, as we heard Joe talk through Acca Freeze and exactly how it works, you two confidently predicted that you know one of the teams that I've got written down. So
Hold
Jake?
it back.
Okay, no, I want you to tell me the team that you think I have down right now.
You have got Tranmere at home to Notts County.
I do not have it officially, but I did think you were going to say Notts County, and I was going to go, nuh-uh.
No, I actually have it down, Tranmere, as a potential too big a price for this game. And it's
2-1, isn't it?
Yeah, over 2-1. Notts County obviously had a massive win in midweek, but their home and away form is just chalk and cheese at the moment. It really is. They've lost. Well, they actually sit 14th in League Two on the away table. They've picked up just 12 points in 12 games, lost 6 of those 12, and they've lost all of the last 4 on the road. They've really struggled to keep things under wraps defensively. And yeah, Tranmere are probably one of the form teams in the league right now. The last 5 on the MK Dons have picked up more points. Last 10, they sit 5th in the form table. They've won 6 of those. And we all know that for years now, Tranmere have done all their best work at home and really struggled away from home. And they've won the last 4 at home. So you've got a really strong home team that are absolutely flying and an away team in Notts County. Yeah, they've got the capacity to score a lot of goals, but defensively they are exceptionally vulnerable. They've conceded nearly 1.7 expected goals against per away game this season, which ranks as the 9th worst in the entire division. So I definitely could see it being, well, I think it should be shorter. I think Tranmere aren't being respected, but by the look on Joe's face, he's like, yeah, you should be a single that rather than put it in the Acca.
I didn't even have it, so I like this feel of, I kind of didn't mind it.
I love Tranmere, but you just can't
And Nigel
back
Atkins.
I can't back against a team in an Acca who've won the last 2 games 5-0 and 3-0. It's just
At home though.
It's just not going to happen.
At home.
I know. It just, if there was a time that they were going to turn around their away form, it would be now, after they've just won 5-0 at 3-0 at home in this tight turnaround period where they take that positive momentum into the second half of the season. I think it'd be a cracking game.
There's loads Monday. I don't know if you lads were the same. You look at some of the fixtures on Monday, and we may talk about a couple, I don't know, but there's so many good looking games for this. It's probably made it a bit more difficult, but terms of just the football itself, this is one of a fair few that I'd put in that category of looking really good. Joe, we haven't heard from you in a while in terms of selections.
I've got
Give us one.
I've got loads that I just think there's no chance that anybody's going to take them, and I'm kind of considering firing them all off, and then just like say if it's a no, just say no, and we move on. Some of these teams are not in great form, and it's just price. Okay, Ipswich to win at Stoke.
No.
Southampton to win at Norwich.
Maybe.
Norwich. Weird team.
QPR to win at home to Cardiff.
Yes.
Potentially.
Right, we'll stick with that one for a sec then. So QPR, let me see the update on the price. I had it written down 27 to 20, and I thought, yes, please.
It's shortened a fair bit. Or it is shortening.
Still 27 to 20.
Oh, no, it is. I must have been looking at the wrong game.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So I'm all over that. Yeah, a QPR are improving. Brilliant point away at Ipswich. Especially being good at home since the change in manager. Cardiff have been bad away from home all season, as Tom alerted us to early on, but they're actually just bad now. They're bad at home and away. The only time they've not been bad is thankfully when they went to Sheffield Wednesday.
No, they were bad. I don't know if anyone watched that game. They were really bad, and they got lucky. They got lucky to win. This. Let me just say
look in the book, mate. Look in the book.
This helps the argument for QPR is that Sheffield Wednesday outplayed Cardiff for 80 minutes. Cardiff scored one goal that got deflected and one goal that the goalkeeper, I don't know if anyone's seen the highlight, but he basically lays on the ball and just
they all count.
Bounces back to the striker. He should have kept hold of it. So that was the ultimate smash and grab. And yeah, anyone who watched that game didn't come away thinking Cardiff are a half-decent team or Cardiff are a team that should be where they are in the table. If anything, it looked like Wednesday were the better team on the day. And having watched Wednesday against QPR as well, QPR were much better on the day than Cardiff. They caused so many more problems. I think this price, I agree with you. I think this price is huge. Doesn't take into account at all the fact that QPR are improving. And Cardiff, as you said, just dropped off a cliff. Like if you look at the last 8 games in the Championship, they rank as the 4th worst team on underlying data, which is just remarkable, really, for a team that was in the top 6 like 8 games ago. Only Huddersfield, Preston, surprisingly, and Rotherham have been worse. So yeah, all the hallmarks of this being a real swing moment for both these two teams.
Cardiff as well.
I like QPR now.
Do we think that Cardiff are currently the most likely candidates for Warnock to turn up at in like the final months of the season? I was genuinely looking because he was on Soccer Special yesterday.
Yeah. He was really good, wasn't he, yesterday?
Yeah, where are you going to go?
Can I give my vote? I reckon he'll end up at Birmingham.
Oh, that's a shout, that.
It's got to be somewhere new, hasn't it, for him? Surely, if you've done the going back to places, yada yada. If it was Sheffield United,
you've just realised as you said that the last place he went to was Huddersfield, which was where he was 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's kind of like it feels like, does he just go somewhere new now, completely not been there type thing?
Birmingham's a good shout.
Yeah.
QPR, I can get on board with.
I like it.
10-ish. I think that again wasn't one I had written down because I knew it would probably get mentioned. So, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, let's get
Should
it.
We put it in at this stage? We have.
Yeah, I really like the price. It just gives us so much wriggle room. Yeah. I really
don't worry about wiggle room, mate, because we're going to go massive with some of these ones. Should we take it then? Third selection?
Yeah. It seems weird, doesn't it, putting in a team that's not 1 in 5. But everything we've seen performance-wise suggests that they are far improved on earlier this season. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it then. QPR, the 3rd pick of this week's Acca, joining Barnsley and Bristol City. The treble is just around the 6.5 to 1 marker at the moment, more commonly known as 13 to 2. I don't know why I did it like that, but I did. Go
on, throw a big in at us. Let's have a look.
Well, I say big, but I think it's big for this podcast because you always go, I don't know, it's nearly like whatever. And then you've said a 2 to 1 one, so maybe today's the day. Cambridge, we back them to lose at Stevenage. I am backing them to win at home to Leyton Orient. 8 to 5 the price on Cambridge. I know we backed them to lose last time out. That was different. That was away at a top side. And that game was actually called off, as you said. So they've had a bit of extra rest there as well. Under Neil Harris, they've won both of their home games. The away games, they drew at Charlton. They lost to Oxford. But I think in the first half, they played well at Oxford. They probably should have gone 1-0 up. They didn't replicate that in the second half on Boxing Day. And I think they played pretty well at Charlton, actually, as well, when I was looking back at that game. And they were pretty unfortunate to be 2-0 down in this one as well. I just think that since their own managerial change, the performances have been there, the results have been there as well in terms of the fixture list that they've had. I would not have them at 8-5 in a home game against Leyton Orient. I think this is another one. We spoke about Cheltenham before and they threw away a 2-0 lead, but good news if you're on a 2-up type payout in that one. That since their own managerial change, things have improved there. And when you look at the table, you take the table face value, you kind of go, okay, this pricing looks about right. They're not sure which way it's going to go. Maybe they favour the away team. I just think Cambridge, 8-5 at home in this game, that looks a really big price. I thought in terms of actual pricing, if you want, since their own managerial change, they should be a shorter favourite.
I think you've nailed one there. I didn't see it at all. I'm just looking now. Won the last 3 at home. Like, good wins as well.
Like, so looking at it as well, it's not like they've just kind of, the performances have been good. I think even in the games they haven't won under Harris, it's looking really good at the moment. And you've just got the added bonus that Friday game was a freak postponement. But you will absolutely take it when you're in a hectic schedule. It's extra rest, which at this time of year is absolutely massive for them.
I think that's huge. Not the extra rest, but also it was an away game as well. I know they probably did. They obviously travelled, but not having to travel back so late and back-to-back away games as we discussed.
It's only Stevenage as well.
Yeah, but still,
Well,
it's back-to-back
Barrow.
aways, isn't it? And now they've got a nice home game welcoming Leyton Orient. So
really showing himself to be a proper Northerner there, isn't he? He's like, fuck knows how far apart Cambridge and Stevenage are. I mean, it could be 5 hours for all he knows.
It could have been, well, it couldn't have been Barrow because they're in a different league. It could have been.
We're all Northern.
Another Northern team. There you go.
I'm going to guess about an hour.
It's London, isn't it? It's all London, that part.
About an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still like if you play
Cambridge,
the game,
Stevenage.
late game, kick off, you finish at
Stevenage
10,
is on the
you get a wind
LNER
down, you
line
got an hour back. You're still
from
going to
Leeds
set
to
off back
London,
at midnight,
King's
aren't
Cross.
you? So.
The LNER stops at Stevenage, so it's down there near London.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's near King's Cross.
They've probably all been out on the piss, though, haven't they, now? Because they had that game off. So they'll be
That's how
owing the
confident they
manager.
are.
Yeah, they built the team spirit up 8-5. Bang.
Yeah.
I like it.
Do you want me to kind of, rather than just put it in, do you want me to chuck the other mad ones I've got?
What are we looking at with that now?
I'll
Do you
get
want me
them
to add Cambridge? You're at above 18-1 on the 4, and I reckon there's a 5th one in here somewhere, just given the fixture list.
I'd get Cambridge in. Like I think I like it. I had it down myself, just purely for the fact that I'm going to say it again, underlying data, they're surprisingly high in the league table based on expected goals. They're actually 9th best team on underlying data this season, which may come as a surprise given the fact they had to they changed the manager recently. But overall this season they've been fairly steady, and Orient down in 16th. So yeah, it looks a big price. This.
Should we put them in?
Yeah, I love it, mate.
Yeah.
Yes. Got one of my big price ones. And Cambridge, the Leyton Orient at home with for Cambridge. If we make that the 4th pick of this week's Acca, we're above 18-1. And I can give you more that might chuck in a huge price here. The other ones that I like. And this is going to be the mad one. Having said they're terrible all season. And this is what I said on the podcast last Saturday when we did it. Shrewsbury are the same
Town.
8-5.
I knew it.
To beat Fleetwood.
No.
Right?
Fleetwood have just sacked the manager
Fleetwood.
like a minute ago.
Yeah, I know. And that happened. And I thought, oh no, that's terrible. But now I'm more confident. Lee Johnson's short spell at the club. Maybe he needed a little more time. I'm not too sure to turn it around. I can't think of any more little puns. But on the topic of other things that are little, Shrewsbury Town's pitch is absolutely tiny. And I've spent forever looking this up, going, I wonder if it's just me. Maybe I'm making things up. I think the surface of the pitch is like the biggest in the country or something stupid in terms of the actual surface. But they go to the dimensions of the smallest possible pitch they can make. There is absolutely miles between the touchline and the advertising boards. And if you're a winger hugging the line, you're like, what the hell's going on here? You're looking over. And I was looking it up, trying to find pitch measurements, trying to find comments. And the amount of away fans who have gone there have gone, this is absolutely tiny, this pitch. And then we talked earlier about how do they keep getting home results? How are they winning games? When they're clearly not a very good side, they're basically let's go direct, let's make it horrible. And this pitch absolutely suits them. And I think that is the reason why they are winning games at home. The fact that 3 of their 5 home defeats have been against current top 3. So the big teams have found a way to win. They beat Burton, Cheltenham, Derby, Northampton, Port Vale and Reading all at home already. This is a horrible place to go. It's not a cauldron of atmosphere. I won't lie to you. But it's very confusing. It's a tiny pitch. Teams can't play on it. And this is
they're playing 5-a-side.
This is why they keep winning at home. This is basically what's going to keep them in the division because they're a terrible team. But at home, they're going to get enough points against other bad teams because teams just confuse the hell out of them. They're taking tape measures. They're going, why am I hugging the touchline? And yet the front row's about 50 meters away from me. What the hell is going on at this place? They could put I love this. They could put an Olympic running track around the outside of that pitch. And then I went on all the picture sites and I was looking up images from old seasons going, oh, maybe it's an optical illusion. It's definitely not an optical illusion. They've always had that pitch, but it is definitely smaller this season. 8-5. Teams can't play there unless you're really good. Shrewsbury to beat Fleetwood in a terrible game, which finishes 1-0 to the hosts. Get it in the Acca. We're all having a great time. We shake hands and get out of here. And it takes up to near 50-1.
No.
I just love the fact that Tom's...
it was good letting you go on for ages, but the managerial changes,
there is no managerial change. They got rid of one terrible manager and just put someone else in.
It don't go in on a technicality, which was, we had this debate, didn't we, 2 weeks ago over when Schumacher left and he wasn't even sacked. The managerial departure is a technicality that we can't account for.
I think an interim coach is looking up pitch measurements more than a full-time coach. I think this is actually benefiting Shrewsbury more, if anything.
The funny thing to look out for with Fleetwood, I was about to say, in all seriousness, but you were being deadly serious about this pitch.
You can look up created underlying numbers, but weather and pitch is actually a big factor.
That the last few games, then sandwiched between a couple of draws, a draw away at Portsmouth, and they drew at home to Carlisle, which is not ideal because they're really bad. Losing 1-0 to Peterborough and then losing 2-0 to Bolton. He's been sacked off the back of that. Is interesting. So it wouldn't be a huge surprise if he's actually managed to get a bit of an improvement going, but there's something that's just not quite right there in terms of the players don't like him. So either someone else being in charge or the new person coming in, they benefit from whatever he's managed to slightly adapt coaching wise, and then he just wasn't getting on with the players. They actually begin to improve because the recent results actually aren't terrible. They're not getting slapped by the teams at the top of the league. So they'd just be one to be wary of for me. Because we had them in to beat Pompey to beat them, I think. And they ended up drawing the other week.
Yeah. I just love the whole Tom's just being
I know the pitch thing is I like it.
You just imagine turning up at the pub with your mates and going, oh, who do you fancy this week? I like Shrewsbury. Right. Well, they've got small
I can
pitch.
see them beating so many other bad teams just because it's it's such a weird pitch. Like, it must be so weird to play on that, what looks just a normal square rectangle pitch. And then there's actually loads of room either side must really freak your nut out, to quote Danny Dyer. I'm at home teams. Does anyone else have any?
Well, I'll pass it straight to Jake because I had Bolton to beat Burton because it was 1-2 and it's now 2-5.
Yes, shortened a bit.
So annoying.
I had that down.
Way
as well.
too short. What else have you got?
I'm struggling. The only other one I've not said is MK Dons at Doncaster.
I have that as an away team, but I have a few away teams.
That's the only I've got Accrington, which we've talked about already, and kind of put a pin in /rubbished, and the same with Reading. With same they were the only other two home, but MK Dons away was just one that I had down as probably still too big. It's shortened from 5-4 into 6-5, but I'd still say it's too big given the way in which these two teams are heading at the moment. And especially, MK Dons absolutely flying under the new manager, aren't they, Williamson? 7 wins in the last 10. Doncaster just, I think we talked about them, was it last week or the week before? It's just almost like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Put in a decent performance and then get absolutely hammered by Morecambe at home 5-0, and then Bradford, who are a team that we can't put his finger on, they go there, win quite comfortably. This just looks like a real big mismatch in terms of two teams heading in opposite directions. And again, price, if you're happy to take it at 6-5, I'm quite happy to take it at 6-5. Get it in.
Compared to some of the other away team prices, it's one of the few that I've got.
I had it down, and the only other home one that I had was Northampton to beat Cheltenham. And Northampton, for some reason, they always open up at quite a big price and then shorten up by the off. So Cheltenham have obviously picked up a bit in the last couple of weeks.
You're not getting Cheltenham past me, but carry on.
So I'll leave it then. But Northampton are in really, really good form. So if you're wanting to, if it's not going in R1, but you're wanting to bulk it out with another couple of selections, then personally, I would have Northampton right towards the top of your list for having them in. Really good form, especially at home. Cheltenham have picked up, but away from home, not really. Mainly at home.
The other away ones I had, MK Dons v Doncaster, to be brutally honest, is probably the strongest one. Maybe, I'm not too sure. Wimbledon Forest Green was another one. Again, I think that's a bit too short potentially. I know it's Ali Al Hamadi's last game for Wimbledon before he goes to the Asia Cup with Iraq, isn't it? So they'll at least have him. If they didn't have him, I wouldn't go near it. Bristol Rovers again, who we spoke about, and battling to beat Cheltenham away at Wickham.
Bit too short for me, that.
Wickham's form is absolutely horrible.
I know.
Dons is a good one. I think MK Dons, get them in. I think Wimbledon need to stay clear of that when after they lost to Sutton. It's I hate them now. But MK Dons, I had it down. It was 5-4 when I noted it, and it's into 6-5. But that's still odds against. Doncaster are diabolically bad, and MK Dons are really improving, as Jake said. So that looks a really good price. It will take us up to something mammoth, I think, as well.
I'll reveal it very shortly.
40-1.
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly go through them over so they're on record when they all win, and I can claim I'm some kind of genius. And if they don't win, I'll say, well, they weren't in the Acca, so it's all irrelevant.
Technicality.
I've got Harrogate to beat Morecambe as well at 15-8. Harrogate actually travelled really well. I was really surprised. It just seems to be all falling apart at Morecambe. And this came from the announcement that Greg Strong, their head of recruitment, is leaving at the beginning of next month. And all the comments are just like, I have never seen a season collapse as quickly as this season has. What the hell is going on here? So it seems to be all we go wrong there. I had Eastleigh to beat Dagenham. That's a home team. But my only note was that Dagenham slapped them 4-1 on Boxing Day. So I thought, they're going to be angry. So that was above 2-1. And that's it. So there's all mine.
Bradford to win it through. That was the other one I had.
Oh, I can't stack. Yeah. Don't know what to expect of them at the moment.
I'm done with Bradford for now.
I can't believe I did back in 0-0 yesterday. Did you see the amount of rain? And I don't live far from Bradford. It was hammering it down last night. It just passed a pitch inspection against Stockport. Didn't think anything of it until after the game where it finished 0-0, I think it was. Obviously, it was going to finish 0-0. No chance of getting any football on that. Should we take MK Dons then as the other team?
Yeah,
we seem to be settled on MK Dons.
Yeah.
5 teams then. This week's Acca for Monday, New Year's Day. We have got, I do this in a jumbled order, so I'm going to try and get it into chronological league order. We've got Bristol City to beat Millwall. We've got QPR to beat Cardiff. We have Barnsley to beat Wigan. We've got Cambridge to beat Leyton Orient. And the only away team, the only game from Sky Bet League 2 as well, we've got MK Dons to beat Doncaster. Pre-boost, it's just above 41-1. Good price?
Wow. It's enormous.
Very nice.
Nice price,
Very
isn't it?
nice
It's a good
indeed.
5 teams that I like the look of. there as well. And as we always say, remember to keep it fun, never bet more than you can afford. Please gamble responsibly and make sure you get in touch with us to let us know what you think of those selections. Some teams that we mentioned that we should have, some teams we should have avoided. Find us on social media, Sporting Life Football. You'll be able to find us that way. And as ever, we'd say to head over to sportinglife.com/football. You'll find the link to back that one at an enhanced price. And if you haven't already, as ever, please follow, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or your chosen podcast provider. I believe we're back to normal next week. I believe we're all back in the studio next week to look ahead to the weekend FA Cup action. Everyone excited?
Oh yeah.
Why did I had fireworks?
Not
How did
really.
that happen?
Yeah,
How has that
fireworks.
happened? I genuinely have
Nice.
not pressed anything.
Is it
Is it
because you said
Wow.
FA Cup?
Is it because I said FA Cup? FA Cup genuinely, but I have not touched the computer there. That's how excited the software is. That's how excited I am.
Oh,
We will catch you next Thursday.